Welcome to another hour with the Tower, and we have had to go to Vegas for the next special guest because, regarded as the best online MTT player in history with 16.5 million lifetime total earnings under the legendary nickname Moorman 1, which now means you know who it is. 5.9 million in lifetime earnings, holding two of the three Triple Crown. He's got a World Series bracelet and a WPT. He's ninth on the all-time money list in England, but that doesn't matter because for an hour with the Tower, it is the one and only Mr. Chris Moorman.
Thanks for having me on the podcast, Bill.
Oh man, how you doing? How's Vegas?
Yeah, good. Like it's getting hot here actually. Oh well, obviously it's summer, but actually it's not as hot as it normally is for the the World Series every summer. It's been quite chill. It's actually you can go outside and not sweat your balls off, so it's been nice.
How's lockdown been?
Yeah, not too bad actually. Like I was quite fortunate because just before it all went down, I was away. I was in England in the whole of January. I was playing a couple of live tournaments. I had an 8-at-8 tournament in Madrid, and I was playing a big tournament at Dusk Till Dawn as well. So I was away for the whole of January, and then just before it all kind of went down, I got back and I was in Vegas because obviously it would have sucked to being sort of away somewhere and not being able to get back home and being apart from my wife for like months. So yeah, I was kind of lucky that I was back home and at least I wasn't lonely. I had someone to hang out with, and yeah, no complaints really.
You've been in Vegas a couple of years, all right?
Yeah, like on and off. I kind of split my time between traveling the circuit still and and like staying here.
Brilliant stuff. We're going to start basically at the beginning because how did you learn? Where did you first start playing poker and when was it?
God, feels like a lifetime ago now. Guess it was like I was at university at Essex University studying economics, not doing too hot, like kind of failing. I was getting distracted. Like at the time, I was getting distracted by pool. I'd always played pool growing up, and then at university I joined the pool club. We had a pretty good team. We played in the national championships every year, and I guess this was it was up in Derby, I think, the national championships, and we'd gone to Derby, played that year. I think it was my first year at university. And on the way home, one of my friends saw in like the student newspaper about this free tournament on Victor Chandler Poker that all students could play. It was free to buy in, and the winner would get. I think the winner got the equivalent of about $500, but they also got a seat in this big live tournament in London. So me and my friends didn't even know the rules of poker at this point, but we decided, okay, we'll give it a spin. It's free to enter. It was on a Monday night, so there was not much going on campus that night. So me and my like 4 flatmates went on Yahoo because it wasn't even Google back then. We went on Yahoo, printed out a set of rules, started playing amongst ourselves with like two pence coins, and yeah, just played the free roll every week. And first sort of 5 or 6 times did absolutely nothing kind of thing and lost every hand. And then I actually came second one week for like $120. Obviously, I was gutted to come second because I missed out on the live seat. But still, $120 was good money to me. I was a broke student. So now I had the dilemma of whether I cash out and sort of take my money and run or sort of play around with it and see what happened. And I was really 50-50. I kept asking everyone because I didn't want to be determined as a gambler kind of thing. And in the end, I just decided to sort of have fun with it. And it went from there, really.
You've turned into, obviously, the early days of poker, you've turned into the number one, an absolute phenom. We've looked back at your pocket fives. Do you know exactly or roughly how many online cashes you've got on pocket fives? There might even be more that's not been on there, but would you like to have a guess?
God, I don't know, like maybe 10,000. I don't know.
It's just 11,594. That's to date.
So that's a lot of poker, yeah. A lot.
That's a lot of poker. That's a lot of cashes, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cashes. Your first on there is 5th for 13,000 in July 2006. I'm not being funny. That's 14 years ago.
Yeah, that's not a bad first cash either, right?
Where is it? Apart from the years, where have they gone? 13,000 as a first cash. Was it instantly? This is going to be bankroll, or are we just going to squander it?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny because I'd been playing poker for quite a long time at that point, and I was playing mainly cash games on the Victor Chandler site.
Yeah.
And it was the first. The site got shut down. It was I can't remember what the exact act it was called under, but it got shut down. And I only really played on that site at the time. It was quite a small site, but I knew everyone. I had like my all stats on everyone. I was just a cash game player. Played a few tournaments on the side. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to move sites, but I was really reliant on my HUD back in the day, which is kind of funny because I don't really use it anymore. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I can't play on like the big sites at the time, Full Tilt and PokerStars on the cash games there without having all my database set up, and I didn't really know much how to do all that kind of stuff. So I had to wait for my friend at university to be free, and he had exams that week. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I haven't got can't take a week off poker. I was addicted to it. So I was like, okay, I'll just dabble in a couple of these tournaments. I played like this Sunday online tournaments that I hadn't really played before on the sites because I was like, okay, well, I don't need my database for this. And I played them, and I was like shocked at how much worse the players were in the tournaments and the cash games. And obviously, I had that 13K score that day. I came fifth, I think, or something like that in the big Full Tilt Sunday tournament.
Yeah.
And from there, I was kind of hooked on the tournaments. I really enjoyed just the different dynamics, different stages of the tournament. And before that, I'd just been playing cash game, kind of building my bankroll. I'd done pretty well, but the games were starting to get a bit stale because, with cash games, you always feel like you have to keep moving up and up when you're doing well. And I didn't really want the swings of, even if you're the best player in the world, you're playing big cash games, you're going to have crazy swings. So, yeah, I just got hooked on tournaments. And then even when I got my buddy to set it all back up, I tried to start playing cash games again, and it just wasn't the same. And yes, that's how I really started, really, because at that point I'd been playing cash for maybe over a year and been doing well. But obviously, cash and tournaments, there's different, levels of. I was just going under the radar kind of thing.
Did you multi-table? Was it mad? Did you have screens absolutely everywhere?
Oh yeah, I was one of the biggest multi-tablers. I was just like, my my philosophy was like, if you're not in it, you can't win it. But like also, I didn't really have a timeout and stuff. I was very 99% of the decisions were like real quick for me. I was always been amazing at maths, like one of my strongest point. And so like I just would put different tournaments on. I had like two screens, and I'd put them at different parts of the screen, which ones were important to me, which ones were getting deep. And so I just did it like that. And I would pay more attention to the ones that were obviously deep in the tournament. And I would late register a lot of tournaments so that I just didn't miss the tournament, but I could still play and just come in a bit later when the blinds are bigger.
Yeah. So basically, it more or less gave you the impetus that this was the career and this was it. What were the parents like? What were the family like? Or did you keep them under the radar for a year or two?
Well, yeah, kind of pretty funny. Maybe a year or two or 10 almost. No, no. Well, because what happened was I was playing at university and sort of going to less and less of my lectures, doing really well. At first, it was just sort of a bit of fun, and then I was making some serious money, and I was like, wow, maybe I can do this for a career. And then it almost got to the point where I had to do it for a career because I basically had to drop out of university because I got so far behind. I tried to stop playing and catch up with my studies, do my dissertations, which is like 10,000 word document on your subject. But yeah, I just couldn't get past the first sentence really. So I went into the
Without thinking aces.
yeah, I went into the dean of the university and told him that I was gonna sort of leave my degree, and he was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" And I told him poker, and he kind of laughed in my face. And the only person I really told outside my friends was my sister, and was my younger sister, and I got her to because I had to confide in someone, and I knew my parents wouldn't probably jump at the chance their son's going to be a gambler and play poker. But at this stage, I didn't even know if I could do it myself. I was, I'd had a few good months and stuff, but yeah, I didn't know if it was sustainable. So yeah, I just grinded. Stayed at university. A couple of my friends were in a lower year than me, so I just stayed on the campus and played a lot of poker. Just took up all the information I could and got better and better, and paid off all my student loans. And then in the end, when at the end of my university, I ended up making up that I passed my degree essentially, which but I went for I basically said I got a third, which is the lowest pass possible. So they kind of believed me, my parents. But obviously I didn't have a degree to go and get a job. So I had to tell them, that I wanted to give poker a try, and they were very skeptical. But my dad gave me, he'd seen that I paid off all my student loans. So obviously they were happy about that I didn't have any debts and stuff, and I had some money in the bank. And he wrote down every sort of, all the money I had in every poker site, had all my bank account details, everything. And he gave me 6 months to see how much, essentially I'd increased my bankroll in that 6 months to see if it was sustainable to live on and stuff. So that 6 months, at the time, I guess I was like 20, 21 years old. And I was just like, all my friends are going out on a Friday night, and I was just like, I got to stay in and play poker. Like I have to play every day to just, make sure I hit enough money where my dad's going to be impressed and let me do this as a career, not send me back to school kind of thing. So I really didn't want to go back. And luckily those 6 months went really well. I qualified for my first ever World Series at that point, got smoked there. So that was a bad start because obviously, Vegas always gets you, do a bunch of money there. So then I had to grind it back even harder. And that 6 months went well, and just kind of went from there really. But it wasn't actually until my second book came out where I kind of said some of these stories and stuff that my parents didn't know. I never told them that I hadn't got my degree until 2 or 3 years ago. So I had to break the news just before the book came out, but luckily it all worked out in the end.